Good day everyone, I'm Tana Roslyn Delica and today I'll be discussing about taxonomy. So the objectives for today's discussion are to know the different classification system and taxonomy, to explain the taxonomical hierarchy and its ranks, to explain the purpose of taxonomy. So what is taxonomy? Taxonomy is identifying different organisms, classifying them into categories and naming them. Both living and extinct are classified. Taxonomy is the practice of making groups of organisms or individuals into species, and arranging those species into larger groups and assigning names to the groups to produce a classification. It came from the Greek word taxis, which means arrangement or order. So who proposed taxonomy? In the past, many scientists and thinkers have proposed many theories and systems, but the known botanist Carl Linnaeus, or also known as Carl von Linné or Carolus Linnaeus, had proposed binomial nomenclature and linear system, wherein binomial nomenclature is naming all species into two words. First is the genus, the second name is a scientific name. He also proposed the linear system, where there is a proper classification factors including class, order, genus, and species. As taxonomy is classifying all the species, we have three classification system, where it provides all this information to get full information about the similarities and differences among different organisms. The first one is a two-kingdom classification system, wherein there is Plantae and Animalia. Kingdom Plantae includes organisms capable of preparing their food from simple inorganic materials, or also called as autotrophs. On the contrary, those organisms that cannot prepare their food from simple inorganic material and depend on other autotrophs to get food were named heterotrophs and placed in kingdom Animalia. In this classification system, the taxonomists placed bacteria, fungi, and algae in kingdom Plantae. Based on more advanced research, the taxonomists contested this classification system and thought it was not workable because Eugenia, for instance, has both plant-like and animal-like features. So where should this organism be classified? That is where three-kingdom classification comes in. Three-kingdom classification i- Three-kingdom classification is composed of Plantae, Animalia, and Protista. A taxonomist named Ernst Haeckel solved the previous problem in 1866, which is where should be the organism called Euglena be classified as? So, he made the third kingdom Protesta to place organisms like Lugina. He also included bacteria in the third kingdom. However, the fungi have remained in the Plantae kingdom. Thus, many biologists didn't accept the position of fungi in the kingdom Plantae. Thus, the three kingdom classification system was still insufficient to clearly classify organisms. This is where the five kingdom classification system is proposed. Five kingdom classification system is a system that gave levels to cellular organization, including prokaryotic, unicellular eukaryotic, and multicellular eukaryotic, based on modes of nutrition, that is from photosynthesis, absorption, and ingestion. In the latter part, we will discuss further this five kingdom classification system, but it is composed of Plantae, Animalia, Protesta, Monera, and Fungi. Let us proceed to taxonomy hierarchy. So taxonomy hierarchy is these levels form a structure similar to the ladder or pyramid. The organisms are grouped in ascending or descending classification order and vice versa. The highest level is considered to be the domain and the least one is species. Next is taxonomic ranks. Each rank leads to other taxonomic ranks either in an upward direction or downward. Taxonomic ranks in biological or scientific classification are the building blocks of the taxonomy hierarchy. Now, Let's dig in further about taxonomy hierarchy. The first one is the domain, or the highest level that constitutes three domains of life. Domain, as a taxonomic level or rank, was added in taxonomy hierarchy in 1990 after 250 years of linear taxonomy classification development. It is composed of eukaryota, archaea, and bacteria, where eukaryota are all the organisms living on Earth. Archaea includes single-celled organisms that are evolutionarily close to bacteria, and bacteria, all bacteria found in large number than all animals and plants on Earth. The next one is kingdom. The second most level constitutes five kingdoms, which is the Animalia, Plantae, Monera, Fungi, and Protista. Initially, there were two kingdoms, which is the Animalia and Plantae, like just as I said earlier. However, after the development of the microscope and more research, more kingdoms were added, which is Animalia. This animal ingests food and digests it with the help of particular organs. Plantae. This kingdom includes eukaryotic, multicellular autotrophs meaning all plants. And next one is Monera. The organisms which are made of prokaryotic cells are included in the kingdom of Monera. Next is fungi. The organisms included in the kingdom fungi have the absorptive nutritional mode. And lastly, the Protista. Due to the inaccuracy of the some kingdoms such as Protista, which include eukaryotic organisms that do not belong to other classes, it led to new kingdoms by splitting Protista into Kingdom Cromista and Kingdom Protozoa. So what is Kingdom Cromista? Kingdom Cromista is derived from the Kingdom Protesta, created by Thomas Cavalier in 1981 to separate all the protists from plant protozoans. The kingdom Cromista includes eukaryotic organisms, both single-celled and multicellular, and kingdom Protozoa include single-celled eukaryotic organisms free-living for parasites, meaning they feed on microorganisms, debris, and other organic tissues or organic matter. Now, let us proceed to phylum, a group of related classes. The taxonomic definition of phylum, or in plural, is called phyla, is more precise than the kingdom and less particular than the class level. The phylum was added to the taxonomic classification in the 19th century. There are 34 phyla of animals, 13 phyla of plants, 8 phyla of fungi, 20 phyla of protista, including Chromesta and Protozoa, 29 phyla of bacteria, and 5 phyla of archaea. Next is class, a group of related orders. The class was integrated into taxonomy or biology by the Linnean system and was the most widespread taxa used up till now. However, the classes for plants proposed by the Linnean are not used nowadays because plants classes were made based on their attributes rather than by their similarities. The classes for plants are not used much in botany. In botany, In animals, there are 108 classes, and the most common among these are the Mammalia or Malans, Aves or birds, and Reptilia or reptiles. Next is the order, a group of related families. Next to the class is the order. It is a more specific taxonomic rank. Some lenient orders are still used in the present taxonomies. The rough estimate the total number of orders ranges from 420 to 450. Next is a group of related genera, or also called as family. The taxonomic family is more specific than the order. Several examples of order carnivore families are Canidae, or dogs, foxes, or wolves, or Mephistidae, skunks, and Felidae, or cats. The next one is a group of related species, or also called as genus. Genus is a more specific taxonomic rank in the taxonomic hierarchy. The genus includes the scientific names of organisms, species name, and genus name. The scientific names are written in the italic style, and the genus name is always capitalized. And lastly, the species, a group of similar organisms. The approximate number of species on the Earth is 8.7 million. However, there are still many species left for taxonomic classification and ranking. The species is the most specified rank in the taxonomic hierarchy. The same species name can be used for different organisms, such as American blackbeard Ischil Ursus americanus and the American toad as Bufo americanus. So now, we have already checked the two objectives. Let's now proceed to what is really the purpose of taxonomy. So the taxonomy is the study of naming, describing, and classifying organisms, including the rules, theories, principles, and procedures. The first part or portion of scientific name is the genus. It's always written first and capitalized, and appears in italics or underlined. The second word of the scientific name is the species and appears in italics or using underline. So, taxonomy is created because scientists communicate about species using scientific names instead of common names to avoid confusion. So therefore, taxonomy helps scientists and other thinkers to provide a more um, precise names about the species that they are going to use or they are the species that they're going to study. That is the role of taxonomy. That is all, and thank you.